the victory. Now death has won.
Hi everyone, happy Easter. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. 16. So I'm just going to read the end of Mark 16, a few verses in, and then we're just going to have a little bit of a think and a little bit of a thought about what's being said here and how it might have application to our own lives. So Mark 16, when the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bought spices so that they might go to anoint Jesus' body very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise. They were on their way to the tomb and they asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb?" But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in white robes, sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He's not here. See the place where they laid him. But go, tell the disciples and Peter, he's going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. Mark 16, the story of that first Easter morning. It's such a story which is full of surprise. It's full of a complete reversal of expectation. These women, they're going very early to the tomb. They're not going there for any other reason than to anoint Jesus' dead body. And yet they discover the body is missing. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of emotions going on. They're in deep grief. They're then perhaps confused, perhaps even angry that the body has been moved. Now, there's a bit of a moment here. It's a bit of a threshold moment. And it's a kind of threshold moment that we can all experience in our lives. A powerful call to something where you expect to find death. You suddenly discover the evidence of death is gone. Where you expect to discover the broken body in the tomb, it's not there. You don't recognize it perhaps right away. An angel appears to the women. They don't fully understand what's going on. Where is their beloved friend? This kind of no longer matches the reality, or their perceived reality is now replaced by a new one. The angel turns this encounter with the woman and sends them to witness to the disciples. And the angel says to them, "Do not be alarmed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He is risen. He's not here. See the place where they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he's going before you into Galilee. There you will see him, as he said to you." Do you need a second chance today? On that first Easter morning, certainly Peter needed one. There in the upper room, prior to this, prior to the crucifixion, he'd insisted that he would never, ever, never, ever deny Jesus, that he would die first before that happened. But just as Jesus had predicted, Peter had not only denied the Lord, he denied him 3 times. You know, that last glimpse of Jesus before his crucifixion, the glow of the fire in the high priest's courtyard. He'd actually made eye contact with Jesus. And then the scripture tells us he goes out and he wept bitterly. Now, I want to ask a question. What kind of look do you think Jesus gave Peter when their eyes met? Do you think it was one of those, I told you so looks? Do you think it was one of scorn? As if to say, how could you betray me? What did I mean to you? All the time that we spent together. What have we been doing for these last 3 years? And now you betray me. You know, I don't think it was either of those. I think it was a look of love. It was a look of love, a look of compassion. It was a look of love and compassion that still held on to Peter. I still love you, despite circumstances, despite this situation. I still love you. I still believe in you. And that's why Peter went out and wept bitterly. He'd failed the Lord so miserably. He probably thought, this is it. There's no hope. But then a message went out from an empty tomb that Jesus had risen. And that message was followed by these instructions. Go tell his disciples and Peter. Go tell his disciples and Peter. It was not go tell the disciples, including Peter, James, and John. It was just Peter. Because Peter needed that word of encouragement. That's why these two words the angel spoke was so important. He'd given the women Jesus' message. Go tell the disciples and Peter that I'm alive. Tell Peter especially this. He especially needs to hear this so that he knows I still love him. You know, this is all about the mercy of God. This is all about the small detail in the mercy of God. Mercy that is magnified when he takes people who have messed up. And we can all identify with this. And he says, I'm not done with you yet. I've not finished with you. 2 months later, on the day of Pentecost, guess who's chosen by Jesus to preach the first sermon after his death and resurrection? The very same Peter. The very same Peter who had denied him 3 times. The very same Peter who felt it's all over. There is no hope. You know, perhaps you're hearing this and you feel that you've failed the Lord in some way. Somewhere along the line, the wheels of your life have come off track. You're not living the life God has for you. I just want to say, wherever you are with God, he still loves you. Whatever it is you've done, you can't out-sin God's love. You can't. Maybe you've drifted. Maybe you've kind of drifted a little bit from where you first believed, Maybe you were once on fire with God, but now, it's all a little bit perfunctory. Prayer, Bible, coming to church. Maybe churches for Easter and Christmas. God has not given up on you, just as he's not given up on Peter. God is full of mercy. God is long-suffering. Churches, they come and they go. Ministers, leaders, they come and they go. But Jesus, when we haven't even loved ourselves, when the enemy of our soul has accused us and told us we'll never amount to anything in God, Jesus has continued to love us. Jesus continues to beckon us back to him so that he can restore us, so that he can raise us up, so that he can use us for his glory. Do you need encouragement today? Maybe you have fallen short. We can all identify with that. You didn't plan on it, it happened. And like Peter, maybe you've ended up with the wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing. Easter, the empty tomb, is all about a second chance. God gave Peter a second chance. He'll give you one. He'll give me one. He'll give us one. Easter. Easter is for the person who needs a second chance. God bless. Stay safe and stay close to one another.